My friend, let me tell you a Buddhist story that will teach you how to easily discern and grasp what anyone is pondering. You need to master 3 crucial techniques to read the mind of anyone. By mastering these methods, you will be able to effortlessly discern and grasp what anyone is thinking. In a small town lived 2 brothers. The older sibling was blind, spending most days at home. His younger brother worked the fields to grow food, but animals kept wrecking their crops. Finally, the younger brother had an idea. "Brother," he said, "you have sharp ears. Come sit in the field and holler if you hear animals. That'll scare them off and save our plants." So they built a little hut where the blind brother could shout into the fields. And it worked. Hearing him, the animals would take off running. Word of this clever fellow reached a king one day. Impressed, the royal man decided to test the blind brother's powers. "A pregnant deer has escaped my lands. Though you cannot see her, can you listen and know if she carries a fawn?" asked the king. "Your Majesty, I cannot see this deer," he replied. "But let her sounds reach my ears, and I will know if she is expecting." Amazed, the king sent guards to find the truth. Soon they returned, reporting what the blind man had said was correct. Baffled, the royal man wondered, how can he without sight claim such knowledge? How can he know for sure if my deer is pregnant or not? To get answers, the king told his commander, "Bring me that deer unharmed. I must see if this blind man speaks the truth." When the animal arrived, the king saw the man had been right. Shocked, he asked, "How did you know, my friend?" The blind man said, "It takes wisdom and care, Your Highness, to truly understand people." The king was very surprised and immediately pushed the others away, and then asked him, "I ask you 2 questions. If you know both, I will give you a lot of treasures. But if you don't answer, or the answer is wrong, I will kill you. You and your brother." After hearing this, the blind man did not panic and said quickly, "Your Majesty, please speak." The king said, "I want to know if my wife is unfaithful to me." The blind man heard this and said, "I need to be in the same room with your wife to know." After hearing this, the king felt strange, but in order to find out the facts, he immediately agreed to his request. He ordered his wife and the blind man to stay in the bedroom. The queen was confused, so the blind man opened his mouth and said to the queen, "Can I hold you? Let's elope." Unexpectedly, when the queen heard this, she became furious and immediately took a whip and punched and kicked the blind man. The blind man finally managed to escape. Escape and say to the king at the door, "There is a high probability that your wife will be unfaithful to you." The king asked, "How do you know?" The blind man said, "When a normal person hears an incredible idea, he should subconsciously be stunned and then walk away or reject it. If it involves such a strong reaction, it must have touched some weakness or inside story." Anger represents fear and fear of being exposed. The king said, "Actually, I discovered it a long time ago and immediately ordered the queen to be locked up." "What's the second question?" blind man says. The king said, "I want to know if I am my father's son." The blind man thought for a while and said, "Yes, Your Majesty." The king quickly asked why. The blind man said, "As we all know, Our last king was famous for being stingy and frugal in building a city-state, of course to save more costs and help the poor. I've been talking to you for a long time, but you haven't mentioned a word about rewards. I'm afraid you don't want to save money." When the king heard this, he laughed and immediately rewarded the blind man. Through this story, we can know that in order to accurately interpret others' body language and gestures, we need to have a calm and focused mind, living in the present moment. Only when our mindset is serene and undisturbed by thoughts of the past and future can we pay full attention to the other person's every move. First, we should notice the other person's eye contact. The eyes are the window to the soul and can convey a lot of information. For example, wandering eyes indicate a lack of focus. Furrowed brows suggest worry or distress, so we should closely observe the other person's eyes to determine if they are paying attention and relaxed. Secondly, take note of their facial expressions. Every muscle in the face transmits messages. A smile signals joy, a frown confusion. Downward lips represent dissatisfaction. So we should interpret their facial expressions like reading words to determine their emotions. Also, pay attention to body language. Postures and gestures likewise reveal psychological states. Finger tapping could mean anxiety or impatience. Crossed arms in front of chest signify being guarded. Leaning forward displays engagement, while leaning back shows contempt. Analyze these body languages together with facial expressions and eye contact. Lastly, notice tone and pace of voice. A soft tone and steady pace indicates a calm state of mind. Rapid speech and a shrill voice suggest agitation. Identify emotions by changes in vocal tone combined with facial and bodily expressions. Of course, to accurately discern others' thoughts, we must first have inner peace without any prejudice, fully focusing on observing all of the other person's physical movements and vocal changes before making integrated judgments. Like a magic mirror exposes spirits, our mind must be a clear mirror accurately reflecting others' ideas. This requires meditation, constant self-reflection to avoid individual emotions or preconceptions clouding judgments. Buddhism teaches emptiness, meaning perceiving beyond superficial forms to grasp the essence of things. Likewise, for reading body language, we must grasp the inherent thoughts behind those expressions and gestures instead of being misled by surface appearances. Only with a calm and empty mind, like a dustless mirror, can we insightfully communicate with others unimpeded. Therefore, to accurately interpret body language and gestures, rather than memorizing meanings, we should firstly adjust our mentality. With a lofty and serene mindset, we can authentically reflect others' thoughts and achieve true mutual understanding. Such is the profound wisdom of Buddhism.